Dr. Zifi, as they call me, and the founder and CEO of Shades of Life Foundation and Shades of Life Care Limited. And we're riding for autism today. This is the 5th year of doing this meaningful work. At the end of every ride, we have a sit down where we have a conversation. Like today, we're going to have one of the individuals in their 40s who we diagnosed last year during the event, because part of what we do with the events, apart from riding, is that we do free screening, free diagnosis, parents training, just training the community as much as we can with the resources that we get.
This year in January, we've been able to train 10 parents, and we're planning to train another 100 before the year runs out. Now, it's not just to train them on how to work with their children, but after the initial 1-week training, they then come into Shades of Life facilities for a period of 3 to 6 months, where we provide oversight and we work with them one-on-one. We observe them work with their children, and after that, we say, okay, you're good to go. The training that we did in February, one of the parents there said to me, "Doc, this therapy is not fair. It's not fair, it's not fair." I was wondering what she was saying. Then she started crying. As she started crying, the father in the corner joined in the crying and shaking of head. The other mother joined, so I had to stop. I allowed them all cry for about 5 minutes. Why were they crying? One had a 10-year-old who had been doing intervention for 7 years, and there was no impact, no visible impact. What they were hearing from us was totally strange. The mother had never heard it. They didn't know. You know, these are just snippets of some of the outcomes. And we're going to play videos of some of, short clips of some of the impact that your funds have made. Thank you again for helping us amplify the voices of autistic people. I know that I have some parents in here who have autistic kids or those with intellectual disabilities and all sorts. So thank you so much for your support, and we'll continue to let you know the impact and the reach of not just your saddling up, but the financial contribution that you make. And I must thank my community, my pit stop people. I have no words, but may the Lord bless you. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord just replenish all your purses. And wherever it all came from, God will always arise for you. Thank you to my cyclotron family, and thank you to our big sister, psychology. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Running for autism to bring awareness to a condition that needs a lot more research and funding, and a lot of assistance for the people that have the condition.
So much for the contribution that has been given so far. And here's just a few, or like a summary of what we've done. Last year we had a free assessment and diagnosis of autism. This included the screening, diagnosis, training of parents that cannot typically afford the service. It was a very interesting and very enlightening. A lot of the parents that were opportune to be included in this activity had a lot of good things to say. It was very impactful for them. Beyond the free assessments, we had the Know the Signs Caregivers campaign, the training for caregivers, drivers, nannies, because beyond just we having the awareness, who do we leave our children with the other parts of the day? So we had a training for them. It was very funny for me, because you hear all sorts of things that the the people that we live with, our children, have to say about this. But beyond just interesting and funny, it was also very impactful because they went on with one or two things. We had them asking questions, giving instances, and it made the science very come down to earth, really. Beyond that, we had our Know the Science campaign. We're not just local, we're actually national. We also had the campaign in Abia State. It was actually a very interesting outing. And last year, we also had this Ride for Autism as well. Also, everyone showed up in their numbers. Everyone was here supporting the cause. And I mentioned that we're national, right? We're also global, right? So we went to Ghana as well. This is the second time, our second edition of Ride for Autism Ghana. And it was very interesting. We're not just riding bicycle. I'm sure we all know that. We're riding bicycle to create awareness, to create acceptance. And during our ride, we didn't just ride, we also had the opportunity to speak to parents and people about what autism is, provide like a mini crash course training for them. And again, it smiles on their faces. It was very impactful for them. And we have like collaboration with Playing with Steve. That's like a golfing thing as well, to also spread awareness about autism, how it shows up, the signs, what to do about it. So beyond just our riding, we're giving hope to people, we're giving people an opportunity to see that, oh, this is not like a life sentence, or this is not something that is out of your scope of help, that there's actually help for you. Now, talking about collaboration, we actually introduced some very amazing programs, one of which is the Step-In program. Step-In program is the opportunity we provide for parents, caretakers to actually come into our clinics, get supervised by supervisors, work with their children so that they know what to do, how to manage these behaviors. Within like 3 to 6 months, they are having ongoing training about like what to do with their children, when they see certain behaviors, how to take data about it, what are the next steps and things like that. And we're not just doing these programs on our own, we actually have people see what we're doing and come in and say, okay, you know what, I want to help, I want to do something. Early this year, we had a parent come up to us and say she wanted to sponsor some parents. That's like Angel's Corner, where we're able to provide some parents, about 10 parents, free training. They had their children come in and be part of, know what's going on, find out from professionals, okay, yeah, this is what's happening with my child, ask the questions. And it was really a source of hope for every one of them that was involved. Now, I said all this to say this: we need your continued support. Imagine everything you're going through and everything that you're experiencing as a typical Nigerian. Now, think about those that don't have as much resources. They find it hard to understand public transport system. They find it hard to understand just the basic communication cues and all these things. That's why we're creating awareness, so that everyone is included in the environment. We're not just raising awareness, we're also creating space for them. We're understanding them better, we're giving them opportunity to thrive in their own way. So to that end, we have social media platforms. We have Shades of Life Foundation. Please follow us to keep up with what we're doing, so that you can also be informed on how you can make an impact as well. We also have Shades of Life Care. Both are some of our social media platforms that you can follow, not just on Instagram, but also on YouTube. Find out what we're doing, get involved, and you can always reach out to any one of us to find out what else you can do to support. Once again, thank you for your continued support. And before we move on to the next thing, I just want to use this opportunity to acknowledge our guest speakers. We have two amazing women coming in to tell us their experience and to just give us a word or two about what they've experienced in this journey. And this is also our sort of post or belated women's celebration, because they are phenomenal women in their own right, doing their thing and making impact. They will be up here talking about the things that you're doing. They will be up here telling us their experience, their journey, and all that.
Yeah, this is a ride for autism to show to the world that they are human, they are like us, and they can do what we do. So don't stigmatize. Let's help to put them in control, and they'll be definitely just like us.
My name is Juliana, and Juliana Fakayode. I am autistic. Yes, that's my new identity. Although I've seen these signs in myself all along. Growing up as a child, I didn't know who I was. My parents were confused, friends around were confused. I had no idea, we had no idea what was happening. Until life took me to the career where I found myself now, a behavior analyst. And I started working with children, and I see the traits I have in these children. So I ignore them. I didn't want to accept them. No, it's not possible. I can't be an autistic. I try to ward those thoughts off, but I can't help anymore. I couldn't help anymore, rather. So last year, I started thinking of having a diagnosis done, but I checked my pulse. It might be way too much for me to go through at that time. Then I got the advert on LinkedIn, whereby Shades of Life posted an advert that there was going to be a free diagnosis. So I chatted one of them up, and she told me about the process. And I went ahead. Lo and behold, I am autistic. So, well, I am happy that I have found my identity.
She's doing very well, right? So I think, like she said, the best thing is if anybody has a question to ask her. One thing I can tell is that when we did the diagnosis last year, I had to have her call her husband in. That was the starting point of the education, because he, being the primary contact as a married person, had to understand her worldview, her perspective, and things. The second of which is also for everyone to realize, because she was really worried, and rightly too. How would it impact her work? How would people, the job that she does, the people that she's providing service for, what would they think? And I said to her that if it's me or everybody isn't me, I will look at it positively, that you can hold down a job. So, and that's what we're trying to do, to demystify autism. Autism does not make anybody less valuable. Autism does not make somebody less important. Autism does not incapacitate, because there are people who always look at or think that autism has some debilitating impact on lives. No. Okay, so that's why she's here. If you have any questions, please ask her. We'll give her a couple of minutes to take the question if anybody has. If nobody has any question, well, she can go see.
Okay, so I can continue. Yeah. So I want to say, for people to know that autism, being an autistic does not mean you will not be able to succeed in life. It is a big lie. No. Well, I didn't know what I had, but even at that, I kept on pushing and pushing, and until I found myself where I am today. And I've been able to record success in my career. Yeah, I was able to write my exams, even though I lacked the ability to concentrate on learning. Right from primary school till I had my tertiary education, it was very hard for me to concentrate, but still, I excelled in all I did. So, who says autism makes someone abnormal? No. Who says autism undermines someone's success? No, it doesn't. So, and it even gives me, in terms of my career, it has given me better understanding of the individuals I work with. Because I place myself in their condition, and I feel, okay, what if how would I have perceived this? Like a parent told me, my child doesn't eat plantain and rice together. I was like, okay, does he eat plantain differently, separately? She said, yes. Does he eat right separately very well? She said yes. So why do you want him to combine it at the same time?
It's still the same nutritional value he's going to get if he eats them separately. So that is the same way the same way I eat my plantain and rice. So I have a better understanding of this individual. So it hasn't in any way affected my career. It hasn't. But though my concerns are, because none of my clients at the moment knows my condition. So if they know now, will they still perceive me the way they used to perceive me? Whatever. But at least I know my identity and I've found it. So that is what makes me happy. Even though I still wonder how people will view me or embrace me. Thanks to my husband, who has really, he has really supported me. Even though I frustrated him, I didn't know I was doing that, but it makes me feel like, there was a time he even cried, that what kind of person are you? If I knew you were like this, I wouldn't have married you, but all the same, we are in this together. So such words gave me encouragement, and we are doing well. So thank you, everyone. So let's just encourage the people around to embrace autism. If autism is what I have, honestly, I appreciate myself because it gives me that special, how do I put it? The way I see things, it gives me the opportunity to see things differently from the way others see it. And I don't know, I just like the way I am. Okay. And honestly, it's just the fact that people do not understand me. Yeah, that's the only problem I have. But I like the way I reason. I think deeply. I see things different. If you see one, I'm seeing one and other things. So I like the way I feel. Thank you very much.
My name is Juliana Fakayode. I am 41. I got diagnosed at 40. Well, that was quite late. But even though it was late, I appreciate the fact that I did, because at least I know my identity. I know the reason why I behaved the way I used to. And I know the reason why I act differently from other people. So I'll encourage people, even though for me, I had late diagnosis, but for those who are already aware now, don't delay. If you notice any traits in any individual around you, even if not your child, not your family member, encourage them, help them to have that diagnosis done. It is better to have it done early than late, because for me, having late diagnosis affected me a lot, as from my childhood till adulthood. But however, I've been able to still manage and cope with life. But I just wish I had it earlier done. But I am happy that I am diagnosed now. I'm happy. I know my identity.
For me, we knew each other back 2012 and even beyond. However, then we were friends, and it took time. It took time before we could probably come together. But at 2022, we started talking about getting married. I didn't know who she was in the real sense when it comes to autism. But after marriage, after our wedding day, we started discovering a lot of things about even ourselves. However, during the first year of marriage, it was a serious struggle. We tried to talk about our differences, tried to discover a lot of things. But recently, maybe in the past 2 years, we've been so closely together. And now that I've known, I've tried as much as possible to ensure that whatever she's experiencing, we are in it together.
The first thing that hit me was not necessarily the grief of losing my husband, but the fact that I had 2 little kids to raise. And I went back, we buried him in November, I went back to work in December. And nobody could figure out why that was. I told my siblings, my family, look, you guys go back to your houses. Let me know what I'm dealing with. And after that point, I planned. I put a structure in place. I put trust for my kids. Once I worked, a percentage of my earnings went into that trust because I wouldn't be here forever. They should be able to start life or get a chance to to live their lives even if I'm here or not. My daughter, who is 8, has been guided to support and be an anchor for her brother. They're a team. In school, if her brother is having difficulty communicating with his teachers or peers, he would reach out first to his sister, express what he needs to her, and she does the communication on his behalf. They study together. They stay in the same room because they choose to. They have their rooms, but they just choose to be together. And that kind of support is something you have to build with your kids, especially when you have special needs kids. You need to make sure everyone is pulling their weight and everyone is doing the same thing to get them to understand real life. And with that, I'll say thank you, and I hope we do this more often. And if anyone wants to engage me on a one-on-one level, I'm always willing to have a conversation. Have a lovely day.
Everyone, my name is Abiola Dixon Okoye. I'm 46 years old, and I was diagnosed with autism at 45. In my experience, I understand that it's better to have an early diagnosis. However, in the event you don't have one, as a community, if you see or notice traits amongst people around you, it's always good to encourage them to get a diagnosis that would help them plan and build their lives seamlessly.
On behalf of the community, one of the reasons that we apart from late diagnosis, one of the reasons that we had women come and talk to us this year is that autism in women actually looks very different. And whenever we say that, people wonder why. A lady can mask, I can look at you, copy, imitate you. Most men don't imitate, they don't mask. I don't know why, but you know, it is what it is. So I hope people have taken some points, even if it's one, from what they've said today. And please, if we have business owners or you work in an organization that is amenable to us coming in, that's something we're pursuing seriously this year, to go into organizations and have conversations. The reason I say that, remember I said I have an adult on the spectrum. When we brought her home last year, a year and a half ago, to work in Nigeria, the thing that made me cry that day was where she was. Her office mate, or they were occupying the space, and this lady was picking up documents and throwing in the bin. And that was my daughter asking her, "What are you doing?" And no answer. All she got was, "I'm coming." And this lady kept taking documents, throwing in the bin. She then ends up near my daughter's pile of documents and grabs the document. "I've been asking you since, what are you doing? All I've been seeing you do is throw paper away, and then you come to mine. Abby, what did my daughter do? Since you were not telling me why you were destroying property and you've come to my own." My daughter just punched her chest. I know when you punch, what happens? Reflex. She let go of the paper. That was her way of communicating, "Give me back my stuff." Okay? I'm not saying it whatever, because the behavior you see in children may not go away. It may just morph into something else as an adult. Should she go around punching people in her place of work? No. But you may have an adult who behaves otherwise in ways that we don't think are the so-called normal. You know, that experience
opened my eyes to a different thing, that we need to be talking to organizations. We need to do HR different, which is what Abiola has also said. So please, if you are in organizations, help us. We just come in, we speak to you, we do stuff, and we leave. If you are in media or you have access to media, please help us talk to them as well. We're going around training the media houses and whatever on how to represent. So on that note, I think once more, thank you very much for participating, and hopefully when we call you again next year, you will turn up and be with us. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. And you're free to do 40 kilometers an hour now. Where are all those my guys? Where are you? Where are you? Dave, where are all my people? Not know the movers and shakers. Oh yeah, get your 45 going. Crank masters. So let's start moving and shaking. Thank you very much, guys.